Nests are interesting because they represent this, I think in physics called jamming. Jamming is when you can create a structure just by elements pressing on each other. It's a quality that we found really interesting. We actually used the concept in a dance performance, designing a set for a dance company as well. So a lot of times we're looking carefully at things that exist and trying to understand how they work. It's just an ongoing experiment, but a lot of times it ends up informing our work. Sid was part of organizing a really interesting conference on jamming, which is a physical property of materials that act like fluids and sometimes act like structures. And in my mind, I kept thinking of how could it be architectural? And Sid was really excited by that too, because he started thinking about ways that dancers could interact. And so we want to learn about jamming, all of us together, and start, seeing possibilities. This is the beginning of the process right now.
Okay, so the thing that we talked about, and so this is my colleague Heinrich was using granular material as a robot. You take a balloon, you fill it with just sand, and then you suck out the air. And that's like putting this under tension, and now these things are really stuck there. And remember, air pressure is 15 pounds per square inch, and so that's for every inch, you've got 15 pounds of force on this thing. So this is kind of using this idea of jamming as a robotic thing. What I was thinking about, how about in a dance thing, if you had this thing, it's a sloppy thing, and you push it into some form with the dancers, and then you suck the air out, and then you can interact with the solid thing, and then you let the air back in, and it flows to something else. And so this thing, it could have this kind of interactive flexibility.
Things get weird and interesting when you start to bump that up to the larger scale from something like this that we saw at the University of Chicago to different size and shape and density of aggregate. So we've done a lot of research on the membrane.
Imagine something like this set up on stage that are either columnar or maybe arch-like. They slowly become flexible and could be picked up by dancers or slumped down and create something on the ground space. One thing that we kind of realized with this process of making something that's rigid that it also acts as a fluid is that maybe we could start the dance with the objects in their structural form. That way we don't have to waste time making them become rigid by taking the air out. So if we let this out, we'll separate out and then maybe see if we can bring these ends together in the center or something.
Okay.
Just as a try.
I'll go right now.
Oh yeah, the difference. Oh my gosh.
Ooh. I like the idea of demonstrating and studying the rigidity of the piece. And that can happen in the movement vocabulary development, solid movement as opposed to fluid, the music choice. And then I really like the idea of the structures becoming more than what the structure actually is based on the dancer's interaction with them. Is it a house? Is it a bridge? Is it a, what is it? Is it a place to play? Is it, who knows? Those are the shapes that we've created, and we are not sure of the timing of the jamming yet in context, but we're going to engage that now that we have more valves. We can play with that kind of timing so that it goes from solid to fluid. Okay. So